Estate planning is a process basically of deciding a number of things. It encompasses the distribution of a person's wealth or assets after they pass away. It deals with life events while a person is still living, including who is going to make decisions for them if they have a issue with mental capacity or dementia or Alzheimer's or those kinds of things. It deals with medical decisions in terms of who is going to make medical decisions if a person is in a state where they're not able to manage their own decisions. It is anticipating basically things that we don't often think about, don't want to think about, but identifying who is going to take charge in the event that we're not able to take care of ourselves. The reason it's important to do estate planning is to make sure that we are in control of our own decisions and our future in terms of significant life events or health crisis events, or even after we pass away. If we don't take charge and make those decisions for ourselves, another person that we don't even know, a total stranger, a person in a black robe sitting in a sterile environment in a courtroom, is going to be making those decisions for us. So it's critical if we want to know who is going to be making our decisions. It needs to be somebody that we know, that we trust, that understands our thoughts and our feelings and what really we're concerned about. And somebody who is aligned with the way that we think about things to ensure that the decisions that we're making are aligned with the decisions that they'll be making for us. So it's just important to make sure that we have set forth what we want to have happen, and we maintain control of our lives and the things that we worked for our entire life. The difference between a will and a trust is, well, there is some overlapping area. First of all, a will is an instrument used in order to determine what happens to our things after we pass away, where those things are going to go and who's going to receive them. And probably more importantly, it is going to be used to determine what person or persons are going to have guardianship or care of our children after we pass away. And if we have minor children, it's critical, because if we don't have a nomination or an identity of somebody that we want to take care of our kids, then a person who doesn't even know your kids or your family is ultimately going to have responsibility for making those decisions. A trust is similar in that it deals with assets and what happens to those things. Generally, after a person passes away, it's an instrument that is used to avoid the process of having to go through probate court, because what people often don't understand is that a will does not avoid going through court. Under California law, depending upon when a person passes away, there's a threshold. And if a person's estate exceeds a certain dollar amount, then a will requires that it go through probate court. Probate court's very expensive, it's very lengthy, it's very time-consuming, it's very stressful. A very simple probate could easily take a year in court, and it could cost $15,000 or $20,000 out of the estate. It's very, very costly to do that. So one of the reasons a person might draft a trust is to avoid that, because a trust will allow the distribution of your estate without having to go through that long court process. It takes the stranger really out of the equation, because rather than a judge having to make decisions based upon a piece of paper that somebody's filed with the court, it's going to be decisions made by people that you have selected and people that you trust to make those decisions for you. Common mistakes to avoid. Well, the first is not doing anything. One of the things that I typically see in my practice is a situation where somebody may come in when it's too late. Somebody's already sick. Somebody's already passed away. Somebody has said, this is what I want to have happen, but it's never been reduced to a written document where there's verification or evidence that that is what a person wanted to do. And there may be a dispute in family members over what you want and what you said and what your thoughts were. And so the mistake is not making it clear about what your intentions are. And in those situations, it can really tear up a family. People end up in court, people that have gotten, had great relationships for a lifetime, and now they're completely at odds against one another because they had a misunderstanding over what somebody wanted, either with regard to medical care while they were still alive, or how to take care of things while they were still alive, or what to do with their things after they passed away. So, number one, the biggest mistake is not doing anything. And number two, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see are people that, due to lack of experience, may do a simplified, pre-formatted type of a document that doesn't really cover the individual circumstances that it needs to cover, or just a handwritten thing that people just sit and write out. The role of a lawyer, and even of a court, is to read something and to ask questions about it and try to interpret it. And often, to somebody who has not had experience, you can read something and think it makes sense, but to an outside observer, you really don't understand what it is that someone is trying to say. And so you can get vastly different interpretations when two or three or four people are involved reading something and trying to understand it, and it just simply isn't clear. So not having the expertise and guidance of somebody with experience preparing something can really be a huge mistake, and can cost tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees because we have to sort this out into court. And the real tragedy of that is broken families. I mean, it's just amazing to me over the many years that I've done this, how many times I've had people sit at my desk and look me in the eye and say, I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be in this situation. I never thought that my brother or my sister or my cousin or whoever, would just simply be in such disagreement with me. So making clear through proper document planning, it's essential to keep peace in the family, to keep harmony, to keep unity, and to keep people out of court.